There seems to be no civility left in air travel.
Is that right?
The only place I think you can find a little bit is in the airport lounges.
Okay.
There's a modicum of civility.
There's a lot of politeness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So on our last trip, I had gone to the restroom in the lounge. Uh-huh. There's like another, dozen guys in there and we're peeing. I couldn't believe how quiet it was. Like there were like 8 dudes in here and you could hear a pin drop. It was dead quiet.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. Like in my mind, I'm just thinking, wow, this is like a really civil group. Like everyone here is just being super, super civil. And so I'm in a stall and I'm peeing and I hear a guy let out a fart. And I immediately say, all right, boys, shots fired. Let him rip. And it was literally like 5 or 6 dudes laughed. And you hear guys start farting. And I was like, everybody in here was literally holding in a fart, trying to maintain civility. And then one dude does a fart. I just had to like let the pressure out of the room. And it was so goddamn funny.
Quiet, please. And
the best part of the story to me, I then went back into the lounge, was sitting there with my kids, and this dude walked by and he was just kind of chuckling and pointed at me. And my wife's like, what did you do?
4, 3, 2.
Company presents a truly terrible podcast. Welcome to Nonsense Season 3, Episode 11. I'm Jeff Parker.
I'm Stoodle.
This is our take on the week's business, tech, and entertainment headlines. This time, the EU may fine X $1 billion. Butch and Suni's flight to the space station was wilder than most of us realize. The U.S. declared a trade war with the world. Also, our big story later this week is about eggs, where they come from, and why they got so expensive.
Where they come from? Don't they come out of an egg hole? That's what I understand.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. How's your week going?
I'm no expert. You see what I did there with? I put the egg instead of the... First of all, what is the EU doing fining in dollars? Shouldn't they fine in some other currency? The euro or some shit?
For the story, we just convert it to...
Wasn't it fun when that used to be 1-to-1? Yeah, those days are gone.
Wow, the dollar has declined.
Yeah,
literally, when I was in Japan, the dollar was so strong.
I wonder why.
The dollar has precipitously declined since then.
How's my week going? I am happy to be back. We took a week off. I'm back on land, which is nice. Although I got to say, being on a cruise ship for 5 nights, it really does feel like you're on land because those things just are gigantic barges and they just don't move much. Like it's incredible that they plow through the sea. At one point, our cruise director said that we were doing 8.2 knots, and he's like, "That's pretty fast for a building," which I thought was really funny.
Oh yeah, it's a city.
Really, what we are, it's a city moving. But no, spring break was lovely. Boat trip was great. Took the kids to water parks. That was fantastic. I would like to report to all of our listeners that I am in fact faster than all of my children on water slides. I race them and would continuously push both my kids and let them go first, do like a 3-beat count, and then blaze by them.
Yeah, sure.
And my oldest son figured it out. He's like, "You're only faster because you're fat." And I was like, "Well, the shoe fits." Other parents are looking at us. And I was like,
he's right.
Weight is your friend when it comes to gravity-based games. That was all lovely. We finished off our trip with a quick, brief tour of the Kennedy Space Center, which was awesome. I'll talk a little bit more about that later.
Amazing.
Got to see all sorts of cool rockets, and for a space science nerd that was a big fan of astronauts back in the space shuttle days, it was very cool to see. So we had a great time. Brought back the same number of kids that I took, which I think is the right thing to do.
Always a goal.
No one was sicker. We haven't had any norovirus or coronavirus or flu A through B strike us yet. Although we just sort of show up with some, but we're much better. We're happier and healthier and happy to be back. How about you? How was your week?
I bought Amazon this week.
All of it?
All of it.
You just called Jeff and send it all over from one Jeff to another?
Yeah, because of the tariffs. I literally went through and just went, what's everything we're going to need to replace in the next couple of years? Let's just pull it all forward and buy it all now. And I'll just warehouse it until I actually need it. I have an extra printer sitting next to me. I don't need an extra printer.
But you got one now.
Yeah, this one is nearing the end of its lifespan. It still works. It still works fine. I'm still going to use it up until it's used up. But the printer is here in case I have to replace it in the next couple of years. I bought it at 2025 pre-tariff prices because I promise you that printer, which says brother on it right there, came from other countries.
Well, yeah, but now, see, here's the thing. Now you're going to get to make your own printer. You're not going to have to buy one. You're going to have the opportunity to make your own printer.
I don't want to have to do that.
You just buy a printer kit from somebody in Maryland and you just put together 1,286 pieces and you do can have a printer that does not work. It'll be great.
Everything is like IKEA.
That would be great. You had that little amorphous blob guy that shows you how to put it together, and he's like got some very small piece of electronics he's trying to show you to shove this into that.
And there's like 3,000 pages.
There's 3,000 pages. The kit's $1,200. The manual's another $600 just because it's printed, of course.
The other thing going on this week, I like big bats and I cannot lie.
That's not how the song goes.
Have you followed the Yankees?
I've been on a fucking boat for 5 nights. I haven't followed anything.
You didn't follow any like baseball news or anything?
I heard about some sort of torpedo bat.
Yeah,
I started reading the story and the baseball. I fell asleep.
The Yankees made MLB history with 17 17 home runs
Sure.
hit in 4 games. That's an enormous amount of home runs for them to hit in 4 games.
So how are they cheating? Is it the drugs again? Are we back to the drugs?
By the way, it's not even all torpedo bats.
Okay.
Because Aaron Judd wasn't using a torpedo bat, and he hit 4 home runs.
So it's the drugs.
He became the first player to hit 4 home runs in the first 3 games of a season.
Wow.
In Yankee history.
A lot of home runs.
Yeah.
That must be awesome. Them just coming off that high of winning the World Series. Oh, wait.
I'm being very careful here to not disparage the Yankees. I think they're quite a really talented team.
I don't want to disparage the Yankees, to be honest. I want to disparage the Yankee fans. That's really who I want to disparage. Specifically the Yankee fans. I got no beef with the Yankees themselves as an organization. Maybe a little bit, but not much. Most of the Yankee fans I find are assholes. That's been my experience.
Let's get to our headlines, because I don't want to react to that at all.
Yep, I'm definitely not a marked man now.
EU may make an example of X by issuing a $1 billion fine to Musk's social network. This is always all about the check marks.
The blue check marks that used to mean something and now just mean that you pay X. I think that's all that really means.
Yeah.
I do wonder if X, Twitter, whatever the fuck we're calling it now, if they just changed the name from the check mark from verified to just paid. Like, what if you just changed the name?
Then they wouldn't get the fine, because the problem is that they didn't change the name.
They didn't change the name. Yeah, they still call it verified by X or whatever. This is kind of bananas to me. When they made the change of the verification process, shortly after Musk bought this thing, I knew then, I was like, well, this now doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. Like, I feel like anyone who can put together 3 thoughts would understand that that's the case. And I think the EU is just saying, well, you should do what it says on the tin, and it just doesn't.
Right.
And that seems to be their biggest complaint.
It's like full self-driving. It's mislabeled. You've now got this thing mislabeled.
Yeah, it doesn't actually do any one part of that.
Right.
It doesn't do it full. It doesn't do it by itself, and it doesn't drive. It's like occasional steering. That should be the name.
But I mean, in this case, it's not verified. No one actually did any verification.
The more accurate name the EU wants is occasional steering and stopping. I think is the name they're going for. The OSSD is what they're hoping for.
Sometimes in a good direction, sometimes not as much.
Yeah, just occasionally. Every now and again it works. But the one thing you know for sure is it's always going to disengage seconds before a crash. That's the one thing you know for sure.
Sure.
It's really good. It
wants no responsibility.
Yeah, of course not. I wasn't engaged.
It's not even seconds. Sometimes it's just literally a second.
Yeah, okay. Well, milliseconds, plural.
There
See?
you go.
1,000 milliseconds. That sounds longer than 1 second.
This $1 billion fine will be cross-collateralized with his other privately held businesses, because he privately holds these businesses. So if he doesn't pay it through X, they'll get it from somewhere else.
So this is somewhat interesting to me. First of all, they have not levied $1 billion fine. There's a rumor potential it could be $1 billion fine
pending. Yeah.
But they're saying, well, because X is a privately held business, we could consider other privately held businesses by Elon in calculating this fine. At first blush, I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense, right? If they have nothing to do with it, why would you include those other businesses in this calculation? And then I thought about it for more than 15 seconds and realized actually that kind of does make sense, because if you're a bad actor, if you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing in violation of their law, then the point of the fine is to get you to stop doing that, right? So if they're just fining you based on that one business, that business might not make any money. It could just be whatever, some little pet project of yours. Then that fine's not going to have any teeth. So it kind of does make sense to think about how you, the controlling arm, how do you inflict some sort of penalty to the controlling arm?
Some noticeable pain to make you stop doing
Musk.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes the most sense. I mean, otherwise you just end up with like, oh, I just pay the $20,000 fine and move on. Who cares? So this is going to be interesting. It's interesting to see how they calculate that.
The EU regulators have been really good again with the tech companies and having teeth in their regulations.
Yeah. And I mean, for the most part, I think most of them, I don't want to say all of them because I don't know all the regulations to put in place, but most of them are generally net positive for the consumer and generally not 100% net positive for the citizens.
I'm embarrassed the U.S. can't do the same thing.
Oh, and so we can't. We totally could. We just don't. We just choose not to.
Because of the way our officials are elected, and there's money in politics, and you want Elon's money to help you get elected. So
yeah, well, I think that particular point goes a lot farther than Elon. You got plenty of other companies that are
no, of course. You want Google's money to get elected. You want Meta's money to get elected. It's all true. But I mean, the problem is money in politics.
Now, what else is interesting about this? So this is in violation of the Digital Services Act, which has already been. They're just talking about the fine now, right? The judgment's already been made. Mm-hmm. There is more on the horizon, though, for X, for Twitter, which is a separate investigation by the EU around not the blue check mark, but X's general handoff approach to policing user-generated content.
Yes.
Which the EU is saying has just made X a hub of quote, illegal hate speech, disinformation, and other material that is viewed as undercutting democracy across the 27-nation bloc.
Cutting the content moderation.
Yeah. And now you just have this place where you've got a lot of willful amplification, if you will, of information that is not true and disinformation. And that is a real problem, I think.
Will that fine be bigger than the $1 billion?
I don't know. I kind of think it should be.
It should absolutely be. It's a bigger problem.
Yeah, it's a bigger problem for sure, but I'm not sure that you need to be quantitative about that. You're just like, this is a problem. You're not following the law.
Yeah.
Stamp fine. Like
maybe.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure that you need to change the behavior. I'm not sure that should be a function of the size of the misdeed that you've done. It's just designed to change the behavior. So if I'm making up numbers here, if they're 6% of revenue, okay. I mean, how many bites of the apple do you get until you're out of revenue? Like, you know what I mean? Like, at some point, you just go, enough is enough. You also shouldn't be storing passwords in plain text or some other shitty system.
Sure.
Like, anyway, so this will be interesting to see how this goes down. We got a long way to go. A lot more of the story that's going to be written, but
pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Starliner's flight to the space station was far wilder than most of us thought.
Yeah, this one's super interesting. So this was the folks that went up, what was this, back in like July, I think? July of last year?
Butch and Sonny, yes.
Yeah, Butch and Suni. They went up to the space station for a quick little visit, just say hi, spend some time with the in-laws, come back home. And as most of us know, they got stuck up there for, 9 months, I think, total, until they came back home.
I think we're going up for a week. They stayed for 9 months.
So what was super interesting was this story in ours from, it turns out the reporter, I think, is a longtime friend of Butch, which is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So instead of his, the typical 10-minute interview time they didn't spend like 30 minutes together. And Butch went into, both of them, but went into significant detail about the failures they had on docking. So it's really a fascinating read if you're a fan of
everything that could have gone wrong. This is the TLDR. Everything that could have gone wrong did. No,
God damn it.
Pretty
the world's
close.
The sky's not
Two
falling.
thrusters died. They had to unplug the space station.
Quite the opposite. He starts the story out by saying that typically when you're thrown into orbit, you're always off by a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
And he's like, every time, and Butch is one of only 2 remaining active astronauts that actually flew on shuttle missions.
Yeah.
So he's like, every single time I've gone to orbit, there's always had to be some correction that you've had to make, right? Not a lot, but it's in the window.
Thank goodness this was the guy that was piloting this thing, because he's one of 2 last remaining guys who know how to do this.
Well, that's the real takeaway. It's like the guys that still have the skill, drawing as opposed to CAD. Like, they still know how to do things with pen and paper.
Sure.
But he said that the initial trajectory was the best he's ever seen. It was dead on the whole time. Everything was going perfect. And then when they were approaching the space station to dock, they were effectively losing thrusters, and they lost a couple thrusters.
They lost 2.
You could only lose so many until now you can no longer orientate yourself in space. You need the full 6 degrees of freedom to be able to align yourself in space. And they'd already lost 2 of the bottom thrusters. So if they lost 1 more, they were hosed. They wouldn't be able to turn in one of the 6 directions.
By the way, Butch had practiced for this.
Yeah, it's really nuts to
in
think
the simulator.
How much time in the sim, and he even talked about in the article or in the interview how when their initial mission got delayed for some problems with the Starliner before they launched, he asked to go back to Houston from Florida to spend more time in the sim just to stay current, which is really amazing to just think about how committed these folks are and just how well prepared they are. I mean, you see like astronauts go up into space and do a spacewalk, like, oh, it's all fun. And you're like, no, they are very well prepared for this.
Yeah.
And rightfully so, because if they're not,
they die.
It's their life. Like, they're literally gambling with their own life. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. And other folks may die too. It may not be just them. Yeah. Anyway, so he talks about the docking with the ISS and how they technically pretty quickly were outside of the flight protocol. They're in the point where they had to, by the flight protocol that they'd put in place for this mission,
come home.
They had to abort.
Yeah.
And he wasn't sure in his mind if they could make it home.
Right. They couldn't make it back to Earth.
Yeah. There wasn't like time to write memos or consult a book. He's doing all of this in his head. And again, the TLDR is he kept working, trying to ultimately align and dock with the ISS, lost yet another thruster in a worse place. Mission Control is having the same conversation about what they should do should they abort. And their answer was kind of nuts. Their answer was, we want you to let go of the stick and we want to reboot the system.
Yeah. We're going to unplug the Starliner and reboot it.
Jim's going to kick it.
Unplug it for like 30 seconds and we'll see if it comes back up.
Did you count to 10, Butch? Count to 10. Now turn it back on. I mean, this is what's nuts. And I know of several other stories, mission critical stories in space where this has been the answer.
Cycling the power to me does not seem like a strategy.
I know it's really not what you want, but you can end up in these situations where something is overwhelmed. And what the big takeaway for me, there were a couple, but really one of the big ones was, and Butch talks about this, how much trust he had in the people on the ground that knew these systems. Literally his life and Suni's life are in their hands. And they said, this is what we think you should do. We think this is the safest and best thing.
Because when you power it down, you don't know. You have no guarantee it's going to come back at all.
No idea if it's going to come back. If it's going to come back in control. Could come back worse. Who fucking knows? I don't even know. It could just come back with a blue screen. Just like, and having just, by the way, come out of KSC, and they talk about when the Eagle was at its final approach on landing on Apollo 11, and they talked about the error codes that it was throwing up, and it threw up error codes that nobody had committed to memory because they were so these just esoteric.
So many of them.
It's like a 1202. Like, what the fuck's a 1202? Like, we don't know. Like, someone had to go flip it up in a book somewhere to figure out what it was, which is bananas. But anyway, in this case, he ended up relinquishing control. They rebooted the system. A thruster, one or two came back. They were in a better position. They lost one again. They wanted him to get to a place where he felt comfortable relinquishing control again. He did. Yeah. They got all but one back, and then they were able to dock. I think that was the general overview of the story.
Butch is a hero. Amazing.
This interview, and I think it's written by his friend too, so it's just written in a very favorable light, but it just exudes confidence and knowledge of not just the system, but orbital dynamics and all of these things he's doing in real time in his head.
While he's doing this, it's freezing. It's 50 degrees. He has to put on his spacesuit with the boots because it's so cold in the capsule.
All he had to do is reach over to the little Nest thermostat. Just turn it, just a couple more clicks.
Is that what they do? They have a Nest? I didn't know they had a Nest in there. Yeah.
It's a great story. My first reaction after reading this was, wow, they're being incredibly transparent about what happened and all the information that's come out, about this. And they just got home, right? I mean, they just got home a couple weeks ago. But then my next thought was, oh, wait a minute. If this is what you're telling us, what are you not telling us? Like what else failed, right? Like, did the espresso machine stop working on board? Like, I feel like something else bad happened that they're not sharing with us. I came away from this not with, I think, what most people might think of after reading this. So I'm not looking at this as Boeing is failing. I think the vast majority, 99.99% of these systems worked really well.
Yeah.
They did have some failures for sure. Suni talked about how this is a really hard problem for them to diagnose because that particular module, they don't return to Earth. It doesn't come back.
Sure. Burns up in the atmosphere.
The engineers can't debug the damn thing, right? They don't get their hand. Right. All they have is the data from it, and they got to figure out what went wrong and what happened. And that's really hard to do.
A couple of log files.
Yeah, one of them got truncated.
That's pretty much what they got.
What you set log roll to? Fuck. Christ. Update the cron job. Anyway, I think this is a win for Boeing. It's not the win that they wanted, of course. But I do think that they've made a shit ton of progress. We need to have multiple providers for space. And
for sure.
I do suspect that the culture that's driving this part of Boeing is different than the culture that's driving
manufacture of airplanes. Yeah.
The aviation, the commercial aviation side. So I'm actually optimistic about this. I think they've got, a hard road to hoe ahead of them still as a company. But I'm optimistic about their space program. I really do hope it continues and they can sort through this.
We just declared a trade war with the world.
Like you and I? Like
you and I did. Just nonsense. It was just the two of us.
You would think that wouldn't get much news.
The U.S. just declared a trade war with the world. Is that better?
It's better.
I don't have any thoughts on this. Do you?
I didn't. Has this been in the news? I haven't seen anything about this.
No one's mentioned anything about it to me.
I mean, my read on this is really simple. It truly is. Not to continue to be silly here. This is just the absolute best way to get everyone on the planet who means anything to anything. Anybody who's got any power to have to come kiss the ring. Like, this is just all of the black powder that we have, save nuclear weapons, I guess. So damn near all the black powder we have, and just forcing everyone to come and say whatever they want to say, right? Like whatever groveling.
Kiss Trump's ring is what you're saying.
Yeah, whatever ring kissing you need to say. And then, okay, well, you guys aren't so bad. We should knock down your tariff.
I'm not sure the ring kissing is a good idea in any way, shape, or form. You do not want to couch.
Well, of course.
But you also have to get everybody to agree. None of us are going to couch out to bullies,
right? Like,
otherwise, you have the same problem you have with the law firms. Once one law firm caves, everybody caves because they're not unified.
Yeah. This isn't the part about this story, though, that really made me sort of shake my head, because most of this isn't a surprise to me. The part that made me shake my head was when folks reverse engineered, and I use that term in quotes,
the formula,
how they calculated the formula for the tariffs. When I saw that, I was like, wow, we've really it's like 7th grade algebra. We're like, we'll just take what goes in, what goes out, take that percentage, divide by 2, and that's it. And I'm just like, look, I'm no econ genius, but that really doesn't seem like the best approach for what we're trying to, what you say you're trying to achieve here.
And the notation, they attempted to obfuscate the notation as much as possible. They were using asterisks instead of the time symbol. And things. It was crazy.
There's a lot more of this story that's clearly going to unfold. Yesterday was not a great day for the markets. That's going to continue. It's just volatility. This is all unknown land, and we will see. Meantime, I'm going to order all of AliExpress.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I did. I ordered stuff on AliExpress. I ordered tons of stuff from Amazon just to get out of it. But this is going to cause a global recession.
Yeah.
Everyone's worried about inflation.
Yeah.
I don't know if inflation happens if people don't have the money to pay for anything.
Yeah.
Think about a big global recession. Think about millions and millions of people losing their jobs.
But it's going to be, I suspect it's going to be different than what you saw with the sort of inflation during the pandemic, because at least then the money that was spent was going into companies that ultimately could pay their employees.
Thanks to the federal government.
Yeah.
I mean, the federal government solved most of
by
that.
injecting that capital. Yeah, for sure.
Issuing checks into the country.
So if that doesn't happen, right, folks are worried about losing their jobs. They're going to spend less money, and that's going to cause more contraction. You're just going to have this, I think, what do you call it, currency velocity, right? That's just going to slow down. You're going to have less money being spent.
Right. Currency velocity slows. It's exactly the problem.
That's going to be bad for everyone. There aren't going to be winners in that. A lot of folks are on the talking point of, well, we got to bring manufacturing back. I've questioned this for 20 years.
You don't want manufacturing.
What manufacturing is it that you really want to bring back?
Right.
Dave Chappelle said it best most recently, where he's like, I want to wear Nikes. I don't want to make them.
Sure.
And I really think, like, if you walk through Walmart, please, folks, tell me which things in Walmart it is that you really want to make. What are the things that you want to be making in Walmart? Do you want to bring textile manufacturing back here? Your shirts are going to cost 5x what they cost now. Yeah. Like, is that really what you want? You can 100% make an iPhone in Indiana. It'll cost $5,000. Is that what you want?
Well, backtrack a second. It takes 87 countries to make the iPhone. All those phones have parts from all over the world, and you have to get them from those parts of the world because that's where those parts come from.
Well, you could. You don't
have much option.
You could absolutely make all of those things here, right? It's possible. It might take 15 years to build up the factories.
Rare earth metals and things that you have to get.
All right,
you do have to get those
good
from.
Point. Yeah.
You can't get those from here.
Good point.
You brought up Apple.
Yeah.
Apple has reportedly flew in 5 plane loads of iPhones.
I love this part. Yeah.
To dodge the Trump tariff.
Yeah.
They did what I did, only they did it on a much larger scale. Well, I haven't gotten my stuff yet.
I was going to say, you haven't got all your shit yet. Let's wait and see.
Equal.
I'll come over tomorrow and see how much shit's on your doorstep.
But think about that, 5 plane loads of iPhones that they just brought them forward. They're going to sell them.
Yeah, of course.
That's probably 2 or 3 months worth of supply that will dodge tariffs.
If that, who knows? What I think is kind of fascinating about this, and again, there's a lot more of the story that's going to be told in the coming days and weeks. You look at something like Apple, where Apple has a lot of things that are not written in stone, that are just sort of happened. Like, for example, we can pretty much set our watch, our Apple Watch, if you will, to an iPhone release every September.
Sure.
Right? This has been the case since damn near the beginning of the iPhone release.
All phone companies. It's going to be a 4th quarter release. We're going to make a big deal so we can sell it for Christmas.
And pretty much sell more phones, more functionality, yada, yada, yada. I could see something like this slowing that down. This could be enough of a macro effect where you go, you know what? People aren't buying. We're not in a hurry. Let's see if time changes on this, and we're not going to release a phone in September. Maybe it's December. Maybe it's February. Who knows? Probably everyone in that chain is losing. There's nobody in that chain that's really winning by slowing that down.
I don't know if it slows down the release of the phone. Certainly
Who knows?
Not this year. I think you still release in September and see what happens.
Maybe.
Because Christmas is still going to be in December. That's still where we haven't moved that.
I get it.
But the tariff is going to be that iPhone is a lot more expensive. And what's going to happen is you're going to get a lot of people going, I could probably go another year with this iPhone.
I totally get that. Exactly. If you know you're going to sell 10% less or 20% less phones, do you slow that down?
No.
I don't know. I really truly don't know what the answer is.
I still got to make money. I still have to push the ball forward for those people who do have to get a new phone. I need to motivate them to get the latest phone. This is the best smartphone Apple's ever made.
Yeah, of course. Until September. That'll be the best one. I'm saying I really do think you could have macro effects here that we haven't seen yet. Who knows?
Of course.
If your phone is 50% more expensive, you're not going to sell the same number of phones. There's no chance. So how much does that number go down by? And then at what point I understand the desire to continue to sell more phones, but there could be some trade-off in waiting.
By the way, that's on the purchasing side. You don't buy the phone because the phone is now 50% more expensive.
Yeah.
But do I also not buy the phone because I'm afraid in a week I'm not going to have a job, or I already don't have a job.
Yeah.
So that really brings the economy to a standstill.
I don't suspect in a couple weeks' time it's going to be the same. I suspect the volatility on this is going to continue. Like, I'm just watching the VIX do its best K2 impression. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's what we're seeing, right? Just like straight to the top.
None of this is surprising. I mean,
No.
the meme going around was, we thought Trump was going to implement the rules that we wanted, not the ones that he said he was going to
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Let you read all our minds collectively.
But so the interesting thing here is there's nothing to stop him. There is no end to this. His reaction to China, putting a counter tariff up, he said China will have to remove its 34% tariff or the U.S. will add another 50% tariff.
Tariffs all the way down.
So take that, China.
Yep.
And then he said about the tariffs, it's an honor to do it. Nobody but me would do this.
Of course.
I think we can all agree on that. Nobody but him would do this. That's true.
Well, that was the oddest quote flex I've seen in a while. Where he's like, and I'm sure with some people that's, oh yeah, he's the only guy that would do this. And I'm like, I don't think you're saying what I think you think you're saying, but that's okay.
We're all agreeing with you.
Yeah. Okay.
How do you think this ends?
What do you mean? Like, we'll define this, if you could be more specific. The trade war?
I mean, you're going to have a global recession. It's going to hit the U.S. much harder than it hits everybody else.
I don't know that to be true. I suspect it will.
Think about a company like Apple. Let me just give you a short example. Apple has an entity in Ireland.
Yeah, sure.
They will sell to the rest of the world.
Yep.
They will sell iPhones as they do.
Yep.
To all of those countries. They will not be affected in any way by those tariffs.
Yep.
It is only when they ship an iPhone into the U.S. from China, which is where they're manufactured, that they're going to pay that tariff. So all U.S. consumers will be subject to really expensive iPhones. Everybody else's cost of the iPhone doesn't change.
Yeah, of course. No, I get that. But I just don't know macro if the U.S. is the worst affected. I don't know. I mean, plenty of, like, if we stop buying shit from a bunch of places.
You think it's going to be those penguins on that island?
Oh, those guys are fucked. I mean, they're going to be, I mean, you might as well just, I'm already thinking about trying how to make brisket out of a penguin because that's what's going to happen next.
Oh my.
No, I don't, that sounds terrible. I really don't know. It's going to be bad, I think, for everyone involved. Like, I don't think there are any real clear winners in this, save maybe the dude that put them into place, but I'm not even sure that's.
Russia and Belarus, because they got no tariffs.
That's fascinating to me. Let's just move all our manufacturing to Russia. Russia and Belarus. That's really fascinating. No, look, it's going to be bad. I don't know. I truly don't know how it ends. I do suspect you're going to see a whole lot of people, and by people, I mean CEOs and prime ministers and heads of state are going to line up to go fucking put on their sunscreen and go do the wedding receiving line at Mar-a-Lago and kiss the ring and figure out if they can get something for it, right? Get something, because I really do think that's what he wants. He just wants a bunch of people to say, you are the best.
And then if you give him that, things get worse because you have just given him what he wanted.
The net effect for everyone is you've made it worse, right? But if you're looking at your constituents for whatever it is, your country, your company, and you're going, well, I'm trying to do the best I can for them, you're in this rock and a hard place. But really the only way we win as people is for us all to be together and say, no, we're not going to stand for this shit. Yeah. The odds of that happening to me are pretty low.
This is the law firm problem. This is precisely the law firm problem, because it's best for you to go make a deal with Trump now. It is worse for the entire universe that you go, everybody goes and makes those individual deals.
And like, I still want to be optimistic that the firms that have done those deals could still call each other and be like, you know what, this was a dumb idea. Let's renege on these deals and let's all stand together. But the odds of that to me are probably pretty low. Well, they might still do renege on the deal. I don't know. I don't know what the penalties are. I mean, who knows? I'm just saying you want to see at some point people band together. And I do think that is the best possible outcome.
All the countries of the world hopefully will band together. I mean, you hope, because if they make individual deals, we're all screwed.
You're most likely no longer the big brother everybody looked up to.
Oh, that's gone. That's gone now.
That's probably one of the next steps we get to is a bunch of people that band together around us and we become more isolated and more insulated.
Where the U.S. would have been involved in lots of talks and discussions with the world about this and that, we're going to be completely excluded.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. And by the way, we should be excluded. We 100% should be excluded.
Yeah, no, we've earned it.
So how do you fix this internally? I think the answer is, I think the best answer is probably something to do with like reading. Like I really feel like if folks would care enough to look into these, even just a couple of feet, you don't have to get 20,000 leagues underneath them and be an expert, but just sort of question a little bit of what's going on, become a little bit educated, then you'll make decisions that won't allow this to happen. And if you don't fix that problem,
that's fine in the future, but how do you get out of the situation we're stuck in right now? You need 141 Republicans or we're stuck in this situation forever. So Congress has to, rise to the occasion. It is their job to determine who gets tariffs and who doesn't. And you need you'll need a 2/3 majority of Congress and the Senate, right, to override the presidential veto that's going to come when you try to get rid of the tariffs.
I mean, that's procedurally probably how it happens is you get someone, and I'm certainly no scholar on this, but you get Congress passes some set of bills that says X, Y, and Z needs to happen. Trump vetoes it. And now in order to overturn that veto, you need a 2/3 majority. Yeah. Good fucking luck. I mean, good luck getting 2/3.
535 members of Congress, 2/3 of that would be like 357, somewhere around
Something
there.
like that.
We've currently got 215 Dems, so we need another 141 members of Congress. And then you're also going to need the Senate. You're going to need a supermajority in the Senate.
It's tiring, right? And it's the whole, so the best thing I've done is just gotten out of the void. I'm just like, yeah, all right, that's happening. Cool. I'm going to go over here and play with some home automation shit on Thread because that's fun.
I know, and that's the temptation. I certainly am tempted to do that too. That's not helping anybody. That's not helping any of us get out of this.
Well, may I suggest figuring out how to do some home automation for farming? Because that's where I'm going. I'm going to be planting carrots and cabbage over here in short order. Have me some cows.
Okay, enough of the headlines. In fact, enough of the episode. We have to get out of here. Special thanks to our floor director, Parnay Sharma.
Thanks, Pranay.
We'll be back later this week with our big story, expensive eggs not made by Fabergé. Until then, thanks for listening to all this nonsense. I'm Jeff Parker.
I'm Stittle.
Arrivederci.
Hey, Jeff, when you
Yes.
purchased your Mac 2CI, you did not get maximum performance. You know that, right?
I didn't buy a Mac 2CI, but sure.
See, it was designed for plug-in cache cards.
Yes.
Which I bet you didn't know. It's DayStar's Fast Cache 2CI. It unleashes the full power of the Mac 2CI's blazing 25 megahertz processor.
25.
I know, 25. It's a lot more than 12. It does this by storing application code in super fast 25 nanosecond memory.
Wow.
The Fast Cache 2CI lets the processor operate at 0 wait states for maximum performance, which is why Apple built a special cache connector into every single Mac 2CI that they ship.
Amazing.
Installation is super easy. Their pictorial manual will guide you through the whole process. It takes only a matter of minutes. If you can solder a 1.27 millimeter pitch PCB, then you can install a fast cache.
I'm in.
Whether it's graphics, CAD, or databases, you will benefit from the Fast Cache 2CI. You've already invested significant dollars into your Mac 2CI, and for only $995 more dollars,
Sure.
you can maximize your overall performance for only a slight increase in system cost.
It's a deal at twice the price. Let me guess, 1989?
Very close. 1990, give or take.
Wow.